In terms of diffusion, a lot of people have picked this thing up. DBT is a frequent topic of internet blogs. There are several self-help websites that are dedicated to DBT. There are testimonials and discussions among celebrities who focused on DBT. Selena Gomez is a star who has made this popular. And one day I'm watching something online, and what do you know? Oprah and Lady Gaga are talking about DBT. There are also extensive networks of peer support programs that are based on DBT, and I think the popularity of the treatment has given us some advantages, but I think there are also pros and cons to this, to which we have to attend. So if we look at the demand for DBT over time, and we think about the evolution of this from the perspective of evidence and the research that's present, it gives us a hopeful picture. And at the same time, there are ways in which I think we have to be careful that we don't get too far ahead of where the evidence is in terms of enthusiasm for the treatment. So it started with suicidal behaviors. As I said, the disorder that really became identified as the focus of treatment was borderline personality disorder. Very soon after that, it began being studied with depression and eating disorders, military veterans, substance use disorders, adolescents, interpersonal relationships and couples. All of these squares or rectangles that are in green have had randomized control trials conducted to look at the efficacy, if not the community effectiveness of the treatment. Then people became very interested in how DBT skills for family and friends of people in DBT could be used. And so there have been some quasi-experimental studies done with this. And this is a really big part, I think, of both the diffusion and dissemination of DBT, because we now have groups like Family Connections that have spread around the world. And there are many families who are benefiting from learning the skills themselves to be able to help manage their relationships and the distress they experience having loved ones who suffer from things like borderline personality disorder or other disorders. There have been studies with college students and pre-adolescent children, and now people are becoming very interested. I shouldn't say now. For many years, people have been interested in earlier interventions with DBT and using it in primary prevention or schools. There are several very, I think, astute researchers who are now looking at how this can be used in prenatal settings with mothers to try to prevent the development of things like borderline personality disorder. One of those people is Roland Senava, who Gabriella and I have had the great fortune of working with now for many years. He really is our partner in this project of implementation of DBT in Romania. There have been now several applications of DBT to trauma that have been studied by Melanie Harned here in the US and by Martin Bohus in Europe. And now people are interested in DBT for life enhancement. Believe it or not, people have called me and said, come teach this here in my spa. I want my people who are doing this in the resort to use DBT skills in spa treatment. I want to say that's fascinating, but we do not have data on that yet, even though it's happening.